morning, everyone, and my name is Adam Harris, so sorry, welcome, and I'm going to be having a look at the major commodities this week. I'm starting off with gold. It is the week commencing Sunday the 17th of January 2021, and let's just have a look here. So gold kind of did hit a little bit lower last week. I spoke about it being effectively it's broken this uptrend, and in many ways is kind of effectively range bound. On the weekly, we do have a lower high by a little bit, potentially heading back down, but this is much more range bound behavior. And actually, this is where I'm interested this week to see if we can recover and head back up and finish above last week's high. That would just allow me to kind of see a continuation on the monthly time frame. So really, again, this week, since no clarity has kind of come from this picture, it's going to be the same approach. There's no real tradable opportunities here until I see price effectively break back up above the previous month's high. Looking for that to be the case. That will then set the stage for it to head higher throughout the rest of the quarter. Alternatively, should it break down below the low, in fact I would put it below the low of December as well, heading down below say 1760, then the picture changes. The longer term picture then changes. Now silver is going to be in a similar position, not really offering any decent or high probability safe trading opportunities. Copper as well, you can see, has now started with a lower high and is testing its around about 3,003.6, is just testing that level there. And I'm going to see how that ultimately reacts to that. It is, I would say, fair to say it's a little bit overextended on the monthly time frame, and a little bit of a correction would be welcome, not a problem there. Platinum as well, just showing an indecision as well as a previous candle being a bit of a rejection. And so actually it's just encountering difficulties with that 1.1 level. So really not expecting much from it. You can see, generally speaking, on the daily, the price action is just a bit of a mess as well. Palladium as well, following through on that, still unable to break through this level. And so let's include both 2,400 and 2,500 in that area of resistance. It's having some difficulty there. So far, collectively, all of the metals not really doing that much, but oil continues to shine. However, now looks as though it's now getting ready to do a retracement, potentially wanting to come back down and test the $50 level, which is acceptable. May not actually do that. If it's really nice and bullish, it'll just pull back into the moving averages, produce a bullish candle, and potentially provide a swing trading opportunity. I'm just noting a little bit of that resistance around that 53.75 level. That might provide a bit of a resistance at some point when it's heading back up to that level. But otherwise, this may actually be the opportunity here for some swing trading opportunities. I notice that Brent is already in that area, so therefore in the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to be looking for a nice little bullish candle here that might provide an entry opportunity if that trend does continue to the upside. And looking at light crude is a similar type of scenario. Most of these are broken through a significant monthly level, for example, and do have some room to run. So if they decide to do that, that's good. There is some good, there's a good opportunity, and I think a fair opportunity to do that. Moving on to cryptos. So again, we've got a lower high here. We've got this bearish inside candle so far that's forming, and we're ridiculously overextended on that monthly time frame. And so although it's producing effectively kind of a triangle type of setup here, just based off the fact that it's heavily overextended, even though it is attempting to stay bullish, I think that the probabilities now start to lean towards it having a bit of a correction, and not a really big one. If it just corrected down towards 20,000, that would be sufficient to really let off some steam in terms of the longer run. Even down towards 14,000 would be fantastic, just to let off some of that steam and then potentially start to rebuild from there. Ethereum as well. Ethereum actually looking stronger by comparison. I would just mention though that this weekly candle could arguably be called a hanging man. It's also an inside candle, although it is bullish in nature. These can often occur at the top of big moves, and a break of the low that would imply or start to lean certainly towards a move down towards the 700, 600 area. So again, it's coming back up into old highs, and so I'll be prepared this week. I avoided trading them completely last week, and again, I would do the same thing this week until we get some of that clarity. I think at this point now, a correction would be better served. That's really it. So I do like the crude oils in terms of opportunities, avoiding metals and avoiding cryptos in terms of just in terms of them either being sideways moving or just no clear no clear winner in those particular regards, or potentially overvalued and very likely to have a strong correction.